Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at your temperature forecast for the next 5 or so days, and then we're going to be looking at a major winter storm very early in the season that could be impacting parts of the Northwest, British Columbia, and then down into the Midwest, where you could be seeing upwards of 2 feet over parts of the northern plains. Let's get right into it here with the National Weather Service. You see pretty quiet over the east, except for some watches in effect for parts of Michigan, but then over the west, especially the Northwest and the Northern Rockies, you're pretty action packed over here. You see, we have red flag warnings in that pink over here in Wyoming and Colorado, and then you have in those blues, you have winter storm watches, and that's from parts of anywhere from western Montana down to southeastern Montana, and then northern parts of Wyoming. And then also you have a winter storm warning in those pinks where you could be seeing about 6 inches of snowfall or more within the next 24 hours, and then a hard freeze warning in effect for parts of Utah. Now we're going to look at your temperatures here, and this is a European model, so we're going to be this is the most reliable model, medium range. Usually it's the most consistent and it's the most accurate medium range. That's why it's actually called the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast. It doesn't do especially crazy good in the long range, and that's why you have other models like the CMC model and the CFS model. Those are really the long range models, and then you also have those climatology models. But the European model is really good for short to medium range, so that's why we're going to be using it. You see, these are your low temperatures. So your low temperatures for tomorrow, and this will be for tomorrow morning. And you're going to be seeing temperatures pretty widespread over the northern half of the U.S. in the 30s and 40s. As you get closer to the coast, right around 60s or upper 50s, and then in the southeast, we're going to be seeing around 70 degrees. But for most of the country, you're right around 40, 50, 60 degrees for your low temperature. Now your high temperature for Friday or not Tuesday, not Friday, Tuesday. I mean, you're going to be seeing those 70s pretty far north, and that's going to be a big switch around as we're going to be seeing this cold air move in from parts of Western Canada, and it's going to kind of just infiltrate into parts of the Midwest. But you get a little break. You get some 70s, even into some 80s as you get a bit farther south, and then also the extreme south, like the Southwest and the Gulf states, are really baking down there. They're around 90, 95 degrees. At least we're not in the hundreds as we were a couple of days ago, and we're going to be seeing a big cool off later into the week. Now, as we move on to Wednesday, you're going to be seeing your low temperatures more widespread in the west in the 30s and 20s. So you're definitely going to be seeing a freeze over those areas, or at least a frost. And I actually made some frost maps, which I'm going to present to you guys in the next couple of minutes. Now, as we move on to our high temperatures for Wednesday, you're going to be seeing 70s and 60s, but you do see those colder temperatures. These are your high temperatures, by the way, in the 30s, in those light, almost white colors. Those are the 30s for your high temperatures, not your low temperatures. Your high temperatures are going to be in the 30s. So you're going to be below freezing almost the entire day, and that's going to allow some snowfall to occur over parts of the Northwest. And you kind of see there's a big temperature gradient along this cold front that's going to be moving south and east. Now, as we move on to Thursday, you see it progresses to the east, and with that, right along the front, you see some warmer temperatures, and then right behind it, you see those really cold temperatures, uh, high temperatures in the 20s and 30s right behind it, and then high temperatures ahead of the front, gonna be in the 70s and 80s. So that's about a 40-degree temperature gradient. And then also for the Northeast, we're a bit cooler. Temperatures just gonna be in the 50s to low 60s for a high temperature. Now, your low temperatures for Thursday, you see your high and low temperatures don't really change behind the front. You're really just about a 5 to 10 degree temperature difference between your low and high temperatures behind the front. You're still going to be in the 30s, maybe some upper 20s in some areas for your low temperature. And then Friday, which is our last day of this of what I'm going to show you for your temperatures, you're going to be seeing that front advance a little bit, and that's with your low pressure. That's associated with the snowstorm that could be occurring, and it's going to continue to move east, but it's going to weaken as it gets to the coast, and that'll happen a bit more in the long range. So I'm not going to show it to you guys because I feel like that would be a bit unreliable, and it wouldn't be as reliable as maybe if we did it in a couple of days. Now, here's my frost outlook. So I made these maps today, and I'm gonna be this is my chances for frost. And you see the key right here is at the bottom right corner. You see, over the parts of the Northwest, mainly the elevations, the Rocky Mountains. So if you're in a valley, you're most likely not going to be in a frost. I didn't. It's not almost impossible for me to pick out every little area that's high in elevation and a little valley in between there. So I just generally did it. So if you're in a higher elevation, especially for Tuesday in the morning, which this map is good for, um, you're probably going to be seeing your freezing temperature or your frost temperatures or frost chances. Now, your frost chances get more likely as you go into Wednesday morning. You're going to be seeing a big area of likely frosts and then possible frost into northern California, northern half of Nevada, into Utah, parts of New Mexico, most of Colorado, and then into parts of the western northern plains. And then also for the northeast, you have a pretty good likelihood, especially those interior areas, for frost. Now, your frost chances Thursday in the morning, they're going to dip fairly far south and east as that front keeps on approaching with that system, and you're going to be seeing likely temperatures all the way here in the west, not even just the northwest, even into parts of the southwest, even into the northern four corners. You're going to be seeing them almost all of Colorado, Utah. You're all pretty much in that likely area, and then also for the northeast is when you kind of cool down. Areas from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, into parts of New England, you could all be seeing a likely to possible chance for that frost, and then also for parts of those Great Lake states. Now, Friday, which is the final day that I made these maps for, because it was getting a bit too far out and we don't know exactly where that's going to be, but you're seeing likely dipping down all the way into parts of Texas, Oklahoma, even into southern New Mexico, Arizona, and then even into parts of the higher elevations of California, especially down south in California. You're probably going to be only in those elevations that you're going to be seeing those frosts. And then also for the northeast, you see some frost chances likely for those interior areas, but then you have a greater chance over parts of DC, New York City, Boston. You're all in a possible, and then also for the eastern half of Ohio into parts of the Ohio Valley. Now, we're going to look at our temperature anomalies. We're going to start off with the European model. And you see, this is for today, and this is right now, basically. Your temperature anomalies over the central part of the country, you're a bit below average, just about 5 to 10 degrees. But then over the eastern United States, you're about 1 to 5 degrees above average. And then also to the west, you're about 5 to 10, 15 degrees in some areas above average. That's going to change very quickly. As you see, this very warm, cold air, is moving south from British Columbia and Alaska into parts of the Northwest, like Idaho, Washington State, Oregon, and Montana. You're all seeing those 10 to 15 to 20 degrees below average in those greens and purples, and then warmer temperatures for the right ahead of this front. Now, we're going to see a bigger contrast as we get into Thursday, and this is for Thursday morning, by the way, and these are all in 24-hour increments. So you see those colder temperatures, those 10, 20, 30, some areas seeing about 40 degrees below average here over parts of the Rocky Mountains, northern Rockies, and then to also spilling into parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, and almost getting there into Minnesota and pushing into Iowa. By Friday, you're going to be pushing into Iowa, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, you're all getting into those colder temperatures. And this nicely aligns with my frost outlook. As you see, it really aligns with that. It's your colder temperatures. If you remember for Friday, that was the day when we had those frost dipping right down south, all the way down to the Mexico border, and that's where I had my frost chances all the way down there. And then now we're going to look at your GFS model for your temperature anomalies. You're going to be seeing pretty much the same thing. So this would be for Tuesday or tomorrow. And then for Wednesday, you see that infiltrating cold air, and it goes farther south and east by Thursday, and then by Friday you're going to be seeing almost half the country split really down the middle, down through Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri. Those are going to be those border states where you're really going to be half the state is in those really warm temperatures. Well, not really warm, 15 degrees below above average, and then half the state is going to be another 15 degrees below average. So really a flip-floppy pattern. And we're going to be getting into that type of pattern where we have systems moving in as that high pressure broke a couple of days ago. You don't have the high pressure anymore, so those temperatures don't have those warm temperatures don't steer around the high pressure anymore. So what you're going to be seeing is those fronts being able to freely move across the country. You're really going to be seeing those systems from up north, and they're going to be bringing with it some colder air from Canada, and it's going to be dipping farther south, and that's going to be our new pattern, as we're going to be seeing lots of, oops, I don't know why the pen went so small. We're going to be seeing lots of, more systems bring colder and warmer air with it. Ahead of the front, you're going to be seeing the warmer air, and of course, behind the front, you're going to be seeing those way below average temperatures. Now we're going to look at the CFS model here, and we're going to be seeing about, as we move on to Wednesday, this really nicely correlates. They all have basically the same general message. Maybe they're not pinpoint accurate, but we basically see the same consistency that by Wednesday and Thursday you're really seeing that colder air moving down south, and then it moves east with that front system that's going to be moving through. And then as we see by Thursday and Friday, basically a repeat of all those models. Now we're going to be talking about your early snowstorm here. We'll start off with the European model. So we're going to start off, focus your attention. I couldn't get a zoomed in view of the precipitation, but focus your attention down here. So this system originates in British Columbia. You're seeing mountain snow, and then also for the northern areas of British Columbia, you're seeing a bit of snow. And then that system continues to advance further south. Now we're going to zoom in on the northwest here. You see that system is a bit north of the Canadian border. A couple of snow showers trickling down into the Cascadian Mountains and then also to the northern Rockies. As we move on a little bit, you're going to be seeing your your uh, your snowfall moving down south into much of the even the lower elevations of Montana, and then moving into Oregon, Idaho, and Washington, primarily as mountain snow. Now, as we move on a little bit more to Wednesday morning, you're going to be seeing those really heavy snow bands over parts of southern Montana. Now, we're going to zoom in on the Midwest here as we're just going to follow the system, and you're going to be seeing that snowfall move into parts of North Dakota, Montana, and Wyoming by Wednesday night, and then by Thursday, you're going to be seeing those really heavy snow bands into South Dakota and then North Dakota, moving northward a little bit by Thursday night, and then by Friday night, you're going to have some lingering heavy to moderate snow showers by Friday morning, and then a really heavy intense band Friday night, and then it starts to depart northward. Now, here's your snow totals. We'll start off at British Columbia. You see, right along the British Columbia border here, you're going to be seeing around 24 inches of snowfall. But this is mainly mountain snow, and you're really the higher elevations are going to be seeing this significant snowfall. Now, as we move on to the northwest, you see parts of Montana, Idaho really being pummeled with snowfall here. And then for parts of North Dakota here, you could be seeing in those blues, that's about 2 feet to even parts in some areas here getting around 40 to 48 inches. That's around 4 feet of snowfall in October. I don't really think, I think this is a bit overdone by the European model. I'm gonna say, just to be safe right now, I'm gonna say anywhere in these areas could be seeing 10 inches, maybe 12, 15 inches at most. I'm not going to go out right now and say that it's going to be 40 inches of snowfall, of course. It's a bit too far out to say this, but definitely could be a significant, even if you get 6 inches of snowfall in October, pretty significant as some of these areas, most of these areas actually that are getting the snowfall, don't see snowfall until usually November 1st, 15th. Uh, and that's really going to be really significant. Possibly could break some records if this plays out, which I don't think is actually going to happen. Now, the GFS model, we're going to start off, well, we're not going to show the precipitation. That would take us about 20 more minutes because we have to get through another model here. But we're going to just show what the GFS model has to show. So here's the GFS model. You see around 20, 30 inches. Those are higher elevations, really high mountain tops, about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 feet. But then some over western British Columbia as well. And then as we move on to the northwest here, we see about 6 to 12 inches over parts of southern Montana. I'm kind of agreeing with the GFS a little bit more, except for some reason, all those models, they like to see this banding feature set up that brings those snowfall amounts, those heavy snowfall amounts on the back side over parts of northern Minnesota and then into southern Canada. I really don't think this is gonna set up. But if we do start to get a bit closer, then maybe if the models are still showing this, I might up my forecast a little bit. And my snowfall forecast for this will be coming out in a little bit, maybe 1, 2, or 3 days. Maybe it will come out. I'm looking to work on that over the next several days. Now the CMC model here, it's showing about 10, 12 inches over parts of British Columbia and then down into the US in the northwest. We're going to be seeing about 6 to 12 inches, pretty similar to the GFS model, which if we pull it back a little bit, you're seeing pretty much the same story around parts of southern Montana. And then as we move into the north, into the northern plains, you're going to be seeing that area of really intense snowfall that's moving a bit east. And if we actually move it back to the GFS model here, you're going to be seeing how that will kind of circle it. So this is where the GFS model has its jackpot. Actually, we'll just do this. This is where the GFS has its jackpot. And then as we move on to the CMC, oops, it's not really the same map, but you can see how it was over in northern Minnesota, but now it's over in northern North Dakota. So that's about a 100, 200 mile, 300-mile difference. So that's definitely something that could happen. The CMC models gets it right from time to time, so we definitely have to see if they're right this time. If you did enjoy that video, please consider subscribing. It's that red subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Then click the bell notification icon, which is this right here, and then click all so that you get all my you get a notification every time I upload a video so that you never miss one. And then also please consider leaving a like on one of my videos if you did really enjoy that video. It really supports the channel. Thank you for watching this video and taking the time to watch this video. That was Eli the Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.